The sheriff's stand, a battle for home and truth. The knock on my cabin door wasn't neighborly. It was sharp, commanding, like a judge's gavel demanding attention. I didn't have neighbors out Reno one for miles on my 40 acres of Wyoming wilderness. Through the side window, I saw two men in dark tactical gear, standing like they owned the dirt under their boots. My gut told me this wasn't a social call. "Open up," the taller one barked, pounding now. "This is security from Willow Creek Estates. You're in violation." I cracked the door, just enough to size them up. "Can I help you?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. "You can start by explaining the unauthorized construction," he snapped, waving toward the creek. "You need to vacate." I smiled, weary but steady, and stepped outside, letting my jacket fall open to reveal the gold star pinned to my belt. "I'm Sheriff Daniel Harper of Pine Ridge County," I said, my tone flat. "And you're not real security." The man's face went pale. His partner, hand on his sidearm, froze. "Stay right there," I warned, my voice carrying the weight of 30 years in law enforcement. But they didn't run. In a chillingly calm move, they nodded to each other, turned, and walked back to their unmarked SUV. They retreated like soldiers, not thugs. That's when I knew this was bigger than a property dispute. Who sent them? And how many more were coming? For months earlier, I'd buried my father. His old cabin, built with his own hands, became my refuge from the grind of being Pine Ridge's sheriff. The job wore you down politics, paperwork, and tragedies you couldn't unsee. The cabin was different. No streetlights, no noise, just birdsong and the crackle of a fire. My land stretched far enough to lose yourself in, and I needed that peace. Trouble started when I began fixing Dad's fishing dock by the creek. It was falling apart, and rebuilding it felt like honoring him. The day after I replaced the first planks, I found a laminated note tacked to a tree. Willow Creek Estates notice. Cease unauthorized construction or face consequences. No signature. I laughed it off, there was no HOA out here, and burned the note. A week later, yellow hardware store tape wrapped the dock, marked community enforcement, do not enter. Annoying, but I tore it down and kept working. Then my office got an anonymous environmental complaint, claiming my repairs were causing soil erosion. It was nonsense, but I had to send a county inspector to my own property. Someone was using my own system against me. That night, I sat on the porch with a shotgun across my lap, not out of fear but certainty. Something was coming. And it did. Those two fake cops, bold as brass, thinking they could bully me off my land. They didn't know who they were dealing with. I called my deputy, Sarah Thompson, the sharpest mind in my department. "Sarah, I need you to dig into something off the books," I said, describing the men and their SUV. "They mentioned Willow Creek Estates." "Sounds like private military types," she replied, her keyboard already clicking. "I'll see what I can find." An hour later, she called back. "This is deep, Dan. That SUV's registered to a shell company in Delaware, tied to another in Nevada. Dead end. But the security firm Vanguard Solutions gets every dime from a holding company owned by Willow Creek Estates. The man at the top? Victor Grayson. Victor Grayson. I had a name. The next morning, I put on my full uniform press shirt, tie, county sealand, drove to Willow Creek Estates. The place was a fortress of wealth, spotless streets, identical mansions, and cameras on every lamppost. Grayson's limestone palace sat atop a hill, overlooking the county like a king's castle. He greeted me himself, all charm and tailored suit. "Sheriff Harper, an unexpected pleasure," he said, his handshake firm, his ice cold. His office was glass and chrome, with a view that screamed power. "I'll cut to the chase," I said. "Your men came to my property, armed, making threats." Grayson feigned shock. "Appalling, Sheriff. My security team can be overzealous. Protecting our community is our priority." "Threatening a sheriff on his own land?" I countered. "That's not protection. It's harassment." He smiled, unruffled. "A misunderstanding about property lines. We're neighbors, after all." His words were smooth, but his eyes said he was measuring me. I left with nothing but a warning. This ended now. I underestimated him. 2 days later, the county board summoned me. Councilman Edwards, whose campaign had pocketed a fat donation from Willow Creek, slid a letter across his desk. An anonymous complaint accused me of abusing my power, harassing citizens over a personal land dispute. The complainant? A Willow Creek resident. "What the hell is this, Dan?" Edwards asked. "Grayson's people are pushing for an ethics investigation." Grayson was boxing me in, turning my authority into a liability. I couldn't investigate him officially without looking retaliatory. That night, I called Sarah. "He's using the system against me," I said. "We need to dig deeper, just us." "What are we looking for?" she asked. "I don't know," I admitted, "but it's bigger than a dock." For a week, we hit dead ends. Grayson's empire was a maze of lawyers and shell companies. Then Sarah called, her voice electric. "Dan, I've got it. Grayson's not just buying land as buying subterranean rights. Minerals, water, everything. For 5 years, he's built a buffer zone. Your 40 acres? It's the bullseye." My mind raced. Why my land? I hired a trusted geologist, Tom Bradley, to survey my property with every tool he had. The week I waited for his report was torture. Late one Friday, the email arrived. Pages of data, soil, water tables, bedrock looked normal. Then I hit the final page, geophysical survey notes. My blood ran cold. Ground-penetrating radar indicates a subterranean anomaly at coordinates 44.137, minus 110.342. Consistent with a large, hollow subsurface structure of artificial origin. Estimated depth, 75 feet. My father's cabin sat atop a secret. Grayson wasn't after land, it was after a buried fortress. I wanted to call the FBI, but Grayson's complaint tied my hands. Any move would look like revenge. He'd know I'd found his secret. Those small counties don't keep secrets long. He'd come for me, and soon. That night, I turned the cabin into a stronghold. I boarded windows, blocked the back door with Dad's oak desk, and checked my service pistol and his old hunting rifle. Then I called Sarah. "It's happening tonight," I said. "Stage the tactical team at the old mill, 10 minutes out. Wait for my signal. The lark is singing." "Don't do this alone," she pleaded. "No choice," I said. "They'll see a patrol car coming. Wait for the signal." At 11:17 p.m., the power died. My phone had no signal feed, jammed it. A twig snapped outside, a deliberate distraction. I saw a shadow move on the porch. At least 2, maybe 3, flanking me. I took position by the fireplace, rifle ready. A pry bar broke the silence at the back door, another diversion. The front window was their real target. A silhouette appeared, pry bar in hand. I fired, and the window shattered. One down. Then all hell broke loose. Bullets tore through the walls, spitting orange flashes. I dropped low, crawling behind an armchair as splinters rained down. A second man breached the kitchen. I rose and fired my pistol. He fell. A bullet grazed my arm, burning like fire. I was bleeding, running out of time. Then I saw him through the broken window, Victor Grayson, stepping from a black sedan, calm as a CEO. He raised a megaphone. "It's a shame, Sheriff. You could have sold the land. Now look at this mess." I pressed against the wall, staunching my blood. "You have spirit," he continued, "but you can't comprehend what you're protecting. That bunker is a Cold War masterpiece, self-sufficient, untraceable. A haven for my clients when the world they've broken burns." He confirmed it. "A doomsday vault for the ultra-rich. Give it up, Harper," he said. "My men will be inside in 30 seconds. He was monologuing a fatal mistake. I crawled to the encrypted radio by the hearth, pain searing my arm. "The lark is singing," I whispered. "The lark is singing." Grayson ordered his men to breach, but sirens wailed in the distance. Red and blue lights flooded the woods. "This is the Pine Ridge County Sheriff's Department," boomed a megaphone. "Drop your weapons." Grayson's smug mask cracked into rage. He'd lost. Sarah was the first through the door, her weapon drawn, eyes wide at the carnage. "Dan," she gasped, rushing to me as the tactical team swarmed. A medic bandaged my arm, a clean wound. Lucky. Grayson was cuffed, his cold eyes memorizing every face. His men, stripped of their professional veneer, looked defeated. By dawn, FBI SUVs rolled in. Agent Michael Carter took over. "You've kicked over a hell of a rock, Sheriff," he said. "The feds sealed my property, turning my sanctuary into a crime scene. They called the bunker Lark's Nest. It wasn't just a shelter, it was a digital black site, hiding blackmail on senators, judges, and CEOs, plus records of global espionage and manipulation. Grayson was the warden, not the king, paid to guard a fortress for anonymous elites. Willow Creek was a front to keep the bunker secret. I was the pest they couldn't swat. Weeks later, the feds left. I returned to the cabin, now scarred with bullet holes and broken glass. It felt violated, but I swept the debris, pulled bullets from the walls, and rebuilt. Each nail was defiance, reclaiming my home. At Dad's grave, I spoke to him. I came here to escape, but you built this place as an anchor. I almost forgot what's worth fighting for. I wasn't retiring. The elites behind Grayson knew my name. They'd come again, but I'd be ready. I called Councilman Edwards. Put my name on the ballot. I'm running again. I hung up, resolute. The war with Grayson was over, but my fight for Pine Ridge was just beginning. Months later, a call came on my secure line. Sheriff Harper, this is Deputy Director Andrews, FBI, a voice said. Grayson's operation is dismantled, but his client, the real power, see your victory as a temporary setback. They know who you are. Stay vigilant. The peace I'd rebuilt shattered. Those faceless elites had me on their list. But I wasn't hiding. I'd protect my county, my home, my father's legacy. The cabin stood strong, and so would I. What did you think of Sheriff Harper's fight? Have you ever faced injustice or violence that tested your resolve? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you stand against such forces, or is it better to walk away? Let's hear your perspective.